Strap in for a roller coaster ride where curiosity, humor, laughter, and the odd case of wisdom is applied to understanding the adventure of life.
Welcome to the Rawle and Gene Show, the power of coaching, guided by two knuckleheads who invite you to sit in the front car with them on this ride.
Trust us, it's not as serious as it sounds.
And high fives are included. Hey, high five to all of you that are listening. Welcome to episode 23 of the Rawle and Gene Show. I guess we don't need to say the Rawle and Gene Show since we've got this wonderful introduction that does that for us.
Well, we can just say, welcome to the Goof and Goof Show.
And now for our knuckleheads.
And now for something completely different.
Someone's already tossed us a heart, Serene. Thank you.
What? See, she likes the welcome to the Goof and Goof Show.
And the dancing too. She likes the dancing.
Well, kind of count for taste on that one.
Well, I think she's got great taste. So
yeah, well, she does, but she chose us. But
which reinforces that decision.
But with regards to the dancing part, well, when I was young, I was really good at dancing. That's when I was a younger man and I wore a younger man's clothes to steal a line from Billy Joel.
Anyways, how are you living?
I'm dangerously well. I was fighting a cold, I thought, this week because, all the kids are sick, back to school, bringing home germs. But, kind of came and went, and it's been a good week. Making progress on the I am enough to me, I don't see reconciliation workshop and just all the other things we're doing. I'm good. I'm showing up good. I'm in good spirit.
Dangerously good.
How about you? Yeah.
How am I living?
Yeah. How are you living?
I'm living dangerously well as well. Dangerously. Let's get dangerous, as Darkwing Duck would say.
Are you stealing my line?
I stole your question. Remember, I wrote it down. It's a great question. How are you living versus how you doing? So how am I living? I'm living well, my friend. It's been a good week. He said with an eyebrow raise, thinking back on it. No, it's been a good week.
Yeah. Heading
off camping with some friends here shortly, and then off to work with some clients in Vancouver. It's a good week. It's been a great week of prepping, and as well with us getting getting unstuck from what's next with all the work that we'd started with the Me I Don't See and integrating that with your I Am Enough workshop.
Well, it's the same now. Well, because we realized we're trying to recreate what was already created. So
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I haven't done this workshop in a while, and the few times I've done it in the past, it's been well received. So I'm really looking forward to it, and people signing up, and the adventure that we're going to have. One of the things I'll be telling people, it's like the end of the year is coming. I mean, it's already the end of September.
Yeah. How is September already flashed past us?
Well, it has something to do with how we're living, I guess. So time isn't flying. It's our perception of time itself, but. So we basically have 3 months till the end of the year.
Yeah.
And
what are we going to do with it?
2024 come about, and everyone will be pushing a new you in 2024. And my thing is, if you want a new you in 2024, you got to start now.
Yeah.
Not on January 1st. So that's going to be the kind of thing I'm going to be talking to people about. The people that are interested, I want to talk with all of them and just really just see where their mindsets are and what it is that they want. Why would they even be interested? So I want to ask some of the why questions, and probably kind of ties into today's show because a lot of people are feeling stuck or feeling they're in neutral or even feel like they may be going backwards, which is no such thing. You're always moving forward, even if you feel that you're not progressing in life. So, this is one way of getting unstuck. Is looking at the internals and asking yourself why do I feel like I'm stuck? Why do I feel that maybe I'm not present? The why. It's important to ask yourself question. So yeah.
Yeah. You know what is empowering about the why question when framed in the right cage? Because why on its own can't. There's a fly. Sorry, we'll edit that out later. Why is there a fly in my house? Probably because somebody left the door open. Why? Where were we? Oh, why? Why can be a very defensive question. And what is beautiful about working with somebody like Rawle in the I Am Enough, or us as your coaches, is sometimes why is also an important question to have when you build this container of brave, safe place to explore and be messy. Dropping in the appropriate why can be very insightful. Maybe some of you have heard about asking why 5 times. It's something kids do naturally and super annoying at the same time. But why? Because they want to get down to the essence. What's the smallest of the small piece of this thing that they need to understand? Because of the context and the complexity of life stacks up so much that we forget each one of those whys that Rawle talks about in the I Am Enough and in the 5 whys is peeling a layer back and exposing something new.
Yeah. Peeling a layer back. Let peel your layers back.
We're working it in more. It's like an onion. Peel back's like an ogre.
It's
got layers.
But no, I mean, it's everything in balance. I mean, you can get stuck in asking why, and wanting to answer those questions. I mean, it's about balance, about asking those questions and then understanding, okay, the answers are usually reflected in my mindset, in my actions and what I do. So it's really getting people to start saying, okay, how conscious am I of who I am today? Not who you want to be tomorrow or a year or 5 years down the road, but who are you today? And can you be honest in answering that question? Who am I today? So when you ask those why question, it kind of it helps you to understand who you are and what it is that you would like to possibly change. There is nothing that I or Gene can say that's going to make you do anything. All we can do is offer suggestions. That's why I never, if you've ever worked with me, or even when you hear me talking, I'll say, I'll start saying, well, you have to do this. And very quickly, I'll correct myself and go, no, you don't have to do a damn thing that I say. But I invite you to consider, because at the end of the day, no one can really make you do anything, particularly when it comes to change you. No one can change you. Only you can change components of yourself. Components, not everything, because, by nature, I'm a lazy person. I like to do nothing if I had my way. But that does not produce results. So I have learned that, if you want something, you have to work for it. You have to go for it. And so there's that balance. So I have no problems with admitting that. I have no problems with admitting that I still have worthiness issues. What I mean by that, those thoughts come up. I just don't let them keep me stuck. And I think that's why when we talk about, feeling stuck, wanting to be unstuck, a lot of times we're stuck in these thoughts, these low vibrating thoughts that makes us think that it paralyzes us. And actually, no, you're the one that's choosing to allow those thoughts, those irrational beliefs, whatever you want to call them, to paralyze you. So, anyway, I went off on a tangent. I'm not sure where the heck I was going.
Well, we definitely aren't stuck. That's for sure. Quick shout out. Mark Gordon's watching us on YouTube right now. Thanks for joining the live.
Relationship guy. The relationship guy.
Mark Gordon, relationships matters. You should definitely, if you're watching this show, go hop over and watch his. He's also got a podcast. I believe it's called Relationship Matters too.
I think so too, yeah.
I think it is. And he's got a number of seasons up there. He's an incredible coach and guide around relationships and healing. So Mark, here's your free plug. The check hopefully is in the mail, right?
Right, Mark? No, but seriously, I mean, there are many voices, and Gene and I are just two voices, and our voice may not resonate with you, but Mark is good with relationships. So
Mark is
whether it's romantic or just individual, and so if anything, if you want to just listen to, if you want to add a new podcast along with the Rawle and Gene Show, check out Relationship Matters. You can find Mark on LinkedIn, right? Yeah, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, YouTube, and the Facebooks, I believe. And I think he's got some new workshops going on. But
I think so. But go check him out. I mean, look, I'm all about good competition, but there's no competition for me when it comes to this. It's like, when people are doing good work, even if it's in your field, I still think you should prop them up and praise them. And, because like I said, my voice is not going to resonate with everyone. I don't know why, but it just
we'll get back to his worthiness issues on another episode. Don't worry. He's a little stuck in there. We're going to get him unstuck.
No, I'm not a comedian. I just think I'm funny.
I just play one on TV.
Just play one on TV. Lordy. What a life. What a life. You gotta love it though.
Oh, yeah. It's like, well, how are we going to force the stuck and unstuck into this life? Is like, if you think about Rawle, this is episode 23 of this year.
I know.
Like I think about that when we were talking about this topic when we got started. Is like, this is a prime example of us taking ourselves from unstuck. Like we've been talking and thinking about how are we going to position our voices, have an opportunity to share our internal values and do something that we enjoy. And I think we kind of kicked this idea down the street on multiple occasions until we finally went, you know what? Let's just hit the go live button. Let's find out what we're going to experience within this and start to make some tracks with this.
Yeah.
And I think because of it, we've really found a way to I find our communication and back and forth has definitely increased as I'm going back and like editing and putting this stuff on the audio platforms. Just watching the evolution of this is incredible. And I think that's the power. When we brought up stuck to unstuck, you had an insightful comment about like getting to change is hard. And if you're stuck or unstuck, moving any direction is going to require change, regardless of how you view your position. Like Rawle says, in the here and now, that change is tough because you're building momentum, and we had to build the flywheel to get things moving and find out how are we going to flow with this. And we didn't necessarily have the answers, and you won't have the answers either. But we put a little dot on the horizon and went, we have faith in ourselves to figure it out along our path.
And I agree with everything you just said. I think part of, for like just using us as an example, part of being stuck with the show, with the workshop, we had this idea, and then we got together and we started chopping it up, stripping it down, seeing if it's something viable. Do we still feel good about it? We felt good about it. We started building it. And I think sometimes we're always trying to build a perfect plan for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not realizing the good idea and the good plan you have today is a good idea and a good plan today. Start today. And I think we just got to the point, going back to, I don't know, past shows when we talk about intent, ideas, intent, expectations, the same thing. Those are things that are great, but you now need to bring it into the reality of the world. And how do you do that? Effort, action. You have to just go, you know what? We could sit here and try to dissect this. We could sit here and whiteboard it all we want and try to make this perfect. You won't know until you get into the game. It's just like sports. You can practice all you want. You practice against your teammates. You know each other. You know your quirks, your likes, what you're good at, what you're not good at. But you're not playing each other in the game. You're going to be playing against other people, and you don't know what their tendencies are and what they're capable of until you get into the game. You don't know what the game speed is like, because practice speed and game speed are two different things. And it's the same thing with this. You have to have faith in what you're doing, right? And that's an interesting word, faith. I'm not talking religious and so forth, but faith is, I can't prove it and you can't disprove it. And the only way I can prove it or you can disprove it is by the effort and the actions I put into what I say I have faith into. And this is where I think people get stuck. They're afraid to try. Yeah, you might fail. I mean, we put the me I don't see on not hiatus. We said, you know what? Well, we're going to pump the brakes because we both didn't like what we were doing at that time. We were overthinking it as opposed to, you know what? We've got something good. And then we realized, you know what? Why are we reinventing the wheel? Well, you already got a workshop that applies to this. So we're going to take what really came out of that, which was the assessment, which we're both very proud of. And we're going to combine that. And it's like, okay, it's go time. It is go time. You have, and then what works, you understand it, you analyze it and go, can it be tweaked in any other way? If it works, keep doing that. What didn't work? Okay, let's analyze that. Let's understand, why did it not work? Was it the concept? The idea was not a good concept? Was it the processes, the implementation of it? What was it? Or maybe you just needed to put in more effort or a different type of effort. But whatever it is, you have to take action. Otherwise, it's just stuck as an intent. And this is why I think a lot of times people feel stuck. You have to be willing to say, you know what? I don't know if this is going to succeed or not. I have faith it will. But I am going to not just roll the dice. I've done my due diligence. I've done the work. All right, let's go. Because part of success is failing, is falling down. That's how you're going to know what works, what doesn't work. So anyway,
yeah. What, as usual, Rawle, I agree with you. Which I know you're shocked by. What I'm hearing in this, though, there's this other piece. Rawle's talking about the action and getting yourself back up when you have this perceived fall. There's another piece in that he kind of alluded to, is like this after action debrief. Is like, that's that part of that intention of going, what did we learn in this action? What are we going to start, stop, and continue? Taking that and going right back into that action loop, saying, here's our intent, here's what we learned, here's how we practice, we're willing to go again and do it slightly different. What's that 1% different? I used to say 1% better, but in this case, when you're hunting and getting to this place of, I'm willing to find out what it means to be on this journey, wherever you're going, whatever that choice is, that where you deploy this faith and saying, it's a commitment to yourself saying, I'm willing to find out if this works or if this doesn't work and what's going to come out along the way. Putting the action in is, so you point, you do the action, do the after action debrief, and you do it all over again. Always starting with, here's where we're going. Why are we connected to this? What's important to me about this? Putting the action back in and going, how am I going to keep being in this place of learning? And as I ramble on a little bit, is like, it comes right back to, like, at that start, when you're pointing and getting into action, you're committing to be a learner. And a learner is open to making mistakes and taking new information and absorbing things. A learner is always on day one. And if you're on day one of that journey, you can't expect yourself to be perfect. And if you can pull that piece off the table, imagine what you can do.
Yeah, I think, losing the idea of perfection is one. And the other thing is incremental pieces. Do the small things, do the fundamental things every day. Don't try to do too much. That's one of the reasons people feel stuck. They feel that they have to do so much that it paralyzes them, as opposed to, okay, it's like making a to-do list. What do I have to do today? That if it isn't done today, negative consequences will come from it. Right? So if you're making a to-do list and, I got to fill up the car today, I got to do laundry, I have to go shopping, I have to make 50 sales calls, blah, 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 whatever it is. Okay. Do you really have to fill up the car today? If the answer is no, don't put it on your list. Do you really have to do laundry today? Yeah, I do. Then do that. But get into the habit of not putting everything down that you think you have to do and then prioritizing and going, well, this is priority 1 and this is priority 2. No. What must you do today? And it's the same approach when you're working, whether you're starting something new or you're doing something accomplished. How can I be better than I was yesterday? What can I do today that's going to make me better? What can I do today that's going to up my effort from what I did yesterday? Because it's about effort. It's about taking the actions and making things happen, but not trying to do too much, right? And you'll know what that balance is. But I think, like I was saying, going back to the new year, everyone gets all excited January 1st, and you're going to be doing this, and they make all these promises and what do you call them again? New Year's resolutions and whatever.
Resolutions.
And
I'm
then,
resolute.
yeah, by February, March, those things have gone because you're trying to do too much as opposed to, okay, let's keep it small. Let's go for small victories, and start building momentum every day. Okay, I was successful yesterday. What did I do yesterday? Let's review that. Okay, I did this. Do I have to do any of that today? Well, the effort has to continue. So what do I have to do today? Okay, today I need to reach out to people I've never talked to before. Today I need to do some work on my online promoting. Today I need to refine my workshop description, whatever your duties are. What do I have to do today? And then get up with a purpose. Get up purposefully with the intent that I know that if I don't get up purposefully and if I don't make this a priority, because it's a priority for me, not everyone else, I have to help make it a priority for them. I can only do that by my effort. How would they know it's a priority for them if you don't reach out and talk to people? So the effort, it's like going back to, like I said, we did a show a little while back about intent and all that. Intent is great, but intent without action, without doing the work, it's just in the ethers, and it will just frustrate you, and it will frustrate other people. So I think it's about just understanding what you really want to do, understanding the effort that you have to put in, making a commitment to be purposeful. When you get up every morning, what must I do? What do I need to do to get myself going? Because I know I need to get going. Not everyone's a morning person. Some people get up at 5 and they're ready to go. They're exercising, they're ready to go. Some people aren't. Everyone's different, but you know what you need to do to get going. Whether you need to have a good cup of coffee and tea, go for a walk, have a hot shower, play with your kids, play with your dog, meditate, whatever it is you need to do to get yourself going, to get yourself into a mindset that says, I am going to be purposeful today. I'm going to be purposeful with my task, because why? I am really looking to improve myself a little bit more than I was yesterday.
Yeah. I think I know we talked about this place of like planning and the space to where you are, and the power is actually in the gap. And what I hear you pointing to here again is like, if you wake up, if you know before you go to bed saying, hey, I've got a vision, be it I feel stuck, I'm just going to make a choice tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's power. Or I've got these big ambitious goals that I'm working towards. That's also power. And it's the same amount of power, is saying, hey, tomorrow I'm going to set myself up for success to move towards that intention.
Mm-hmm.
What's that going to look like? I know if I don't want to experience the same type of days that I have, as a generalized, going, hey, today wasn't my perfect day, wasn't even close. I don't want to experience more of these days. I have a lot of control in what that is. I can shift by what I'm putting into my body, how I'm moving my body, the choices I make, the time that I'm stacking all those up, because it goes right back to what you were saying earlier, Rawle, is like, switch from that to-do list to say, like, what is the must do? Like, here's my top 3 today. Don't overwhelm yourself. Get through those 3, because trust us, there is a whole pile more for you to turn. If you got through all the 3 most important things you had to do that day, I guarantee you there's a big pile sitting right beside you that you can reach and go, I've got space for a 4th.
Yeah.
And add it to that list, versus going, here's my list of 300 things I have to do.
Yeah, it just overwhelms you, and it's all about being. To me, it's about being purposeful. You can only be purposeful in the moment. And when we talk about mindfulness and being mindful, that's just another word for being present, being in the moment. When I go to bed every night, before I close my eyes to drift off, I'm grateful. I thank my higher power for being back in this position where I can go to sleep.
Yeah.
And if I wake up in the morning, I'll be grateful for that. But before I really drift off, and once I say, I'm grateful, thank you for another day, I also think, how do I want to be tomorrow? What's my intent for myself tomorrow? Not what I have to do. How do I
beat me to it?
How do I want to be tomorrow? Tomorrow, my intent is to be gentle. Tomorrow, my intent is to walk as gently as I can. Tomorrow, I am going to really focus on being empathetic. Tomorrow, whatever that is, and then I go to sleep with that, and it almost becomes a meditative state. Because when I hit the pillow, man, I rarely ever sit there and can't sleep. I go out. My mind's not racing. I don't worry about things, so I just sleep. And then when I get up in the morning, then I'll sit down and go, okay, once I've gone through my practice of gratitude and and then just having my talk with the universe, and I go, okay, what do I have to do today? And what efforts, well, what requires my immediate efforts? So I always look for ways to do small little things and build that momentum. And if you do one task and you do it, and you push through it, even if you may not want to do it, but you have to do it, you feel good afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's those small little blasts of dopamine that you're really chasing because you feel like you've accomplished something. And I don't care what anyone says. When you feel like you've accomplished something, you feel good about yourself. You feel good about the world. You feel good about life itself. And if you build that up every day, you will feel that you're not stuck. And even if you perceivably stuck, sometimes you also have to trust the timing of the universe. You and I went through that. Oh, we had people who were interested, and what if they're not interested? Well, then it wasn't the right time. Because it was not the right time for us to launch the Me I Don't See, because now it's morphed into this.
Yeah.
So I trust that. But now we've done the due diligence, we've done the work. Now it's time to take action and do the work.
Yeah, it's on to that next chapter, right? It's like it's an old saying and a little bit crude, but I love it. It's like you got to shit or get off the pot.
It's very simple.
Right? Like, it is. It is simple, and yet, even though we say that it's simple, we've both been in those places where sometimes it doesn't feel simple, and that's not a judgmental thing. For if you're in a place going, oh, it's easy for you guys to say it's simple, but like I keep thinking back to this, like what's the smallest step you can take right now to feel slightly less than where you are? If you're not content with where you are, what's like a 0.001% step in the direction to where you want to be? If you're really clear going, this is the line, I don't want to feel like this. Well, tomorrow you could feel a fraction unlike that. Mm-hmm. Who would you have to be? What plate, like Rawle speaks to, what values and what experiences would you want to experience in that next day? And really focusing on how to use that and putting your action as the wind in those sails to pull you forward, pull you towards that direction, and building up your vault of wisdom and your vault of experience, saying, hey, I've done this. Oh, I could probably do this again. It actually felt really good when I did it.
Mm-hmm. And, you talk about the vault of wisdom because, when I talk about the vault of wisdom, I'm talking about your past. Wisdom lives in the past. Wisdom does not live in the present, and it does not live in the future. It lives in the past, attached to the experiences we've had. You have had experiences in your life where you actually took action and it felt good. So it's a matter of stepping back into your vault of wisdom, going, wait a minute, I've done this before, not just once. I've done it many times before. I've experienced this many times before where I've felt stuck. But that's a false illusion. That's an irrational feeling and thought, because I have a litany of experiences where I have taken action from an idea, from a thought, crafted it, developed it, and then brought it to fruition. So it's a matter of making a choice. At the end of the day, that's why I said we can't make you do anything. You still have to make the choice. And a lot of times, that's what I said, we paralyze ourselves thinking that what we're doing is brand new. There's really nothing new under the sun. The question is, what have you learned from the past? What have you learned from your past experiences? And when you are feeling stuck, one of the key, I think, of getting out of it is to be gentle with yourself, not to beat yourself up because you're feeling that way. Is can you step out of the feeling? Because the feeling came from an emotion. The emotion came from when that experience happened. Okay, why am I feeling this way? Okay, those were the emotions, but I'm feeling this way now. Can you find a way to step out of the emotion so you can look at things from a 360? What I mean by that is now you understand how you're feeling, but can you use your other tools, reason, logic, critical thinking, your vault of wisdom to go, okay, how can I craft something different? Well, when I actually overwhelm myself, I feel stuck. When I feel like I have too much to do, I feel stuck. When I feel that I don't know what it is that I'm doing, I feel stuck. Well, make a list of that and check them off. So I don't know what to do. Actually, I do know what to do. I just have to do it. Well, what's stopping you? Well, I'm afraid. Okay, nothing wrong with being afraid, but you can still push through that. Why? Because you've been afraid before. So it's about being conscious with yourself in the moment, being mindful of your purpose. And your purpose is not necessarily delivering the best, worthiness workshop. Is, am I being true to myself? And am I putting myself in a position where I can be better today than I was yesterday by even just 1%? And you just keep stacking days. Before you know it, it becomes a habit. It becomes a new way of thinking. Again, because of the effort that you're putting in. Now, the effort obviously needs to match the new direction, because if you're doing the old effort, then you're just going to keep getting the old results. And this is why it's important to be brutally honest with yourself. Right? I saw, I was telling my sister not too long ago, I experienced some successes in the corporate world, and I could have been a lot more successful. And the reason why, I don't know if I had that kind of killer instinct in me. I always felt that there was something not wrong, but I just always questioned, what were we doing? I never felt of value in here. When I moved to Kelowna, I've never worked as hard as I did I never worked as hard in my life as I did when I lived in Kelowna. Because I was more purposeful. I really understood myself, understood what it is I was doing and why I was doing it and why I wanted to do it. And I grind, and I had no problems with grinding. This thing about, if you're doing the things that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
Bullshit.
Because if you love it, you're going to do a shit ton of it. You'd be like, when can I do it again?
You're going to work your butt off.
You're going to want, because it's, I agree, that statement is like, there's some falsehoods in it. Like, oh, you're not going to work? Be like, yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
You're not going to view it the same way as like, oh, someone's telling me to go do X, Y, and Z, begrudgingly going and doing it. Be like, I get to choose what I'm going to do today. Yeah, let's go. I love this, and I'm going to wake up every day excited for it. And when you wake up excited for it, you're going to put a ton of effort in a way that you may not have experienced if you've not connected with something that you truly love.
I look back at my time when I built, was building the Inspired Word Cafe, which was a simple open mic concept, a show, poetry that I did in Kelowna. And then every day, that coupled with, being a life coach and all these other things, every day I was out and about in Kelowna and just meeting people. People go, what do you do? I said, I'm a bum. I go, what do you mean you're a bum? I go, I'm a beautiful universal manifestor. I just was
of course
out
you had something.
Meeting people. And I find the more I went out, the more opportunities presented themselves because I was exposing myself. I was out there talking to people, wanting to talk to people with an open heart and a smile on my face. I wanted to do it. So I had no problems. I'd leave sometimes at 8 in the morning and get home till like 10 o'clock at night. And a lot of times that was like, 5 days out of the week, out of the 6, sometimes 7 days. I didn't care because I loved it. Now, don't get me wrong, I got tired. I didn't like everything I did. I'm going to sit here and blow smoke up your butt. There's a lot of menial tasks that I didn't like, but I did it still with a smile on my face because I understood my purpose. I understood what it is that I was looking to do. I understood that every day I was looking to make myself a little bit better. Every day I was looking to meet someone that I hadn't met before and hopefully have a heart-to-heart connection with people. So that was the hardest I ever worked, right? And I loved it. I loved it. I didn't like everything about it, but I loved it. So I never felt stuck in that regards. And I think it's possible for anyone, but you have to be willing to do the heavy lifting. Change is not easy. Change is hard. Transformative change usually comes from a place of discomfort. So if you're in a place of discomfort, I'm going to invite you to look at it in a different way. You're actually in a good place because that's what transformative change comes from. And it's scary and it can feel lonely at times, but it's not scary and you're not alone after you've done the work. And when you can look back in hindsight, when I say, it's not easy, but it is easy. In hindsight, you'll see, oh, wow, it was easier, like they said. And the easy part was just make the choice and follow through. And follow through by accepting whatever consequence comes from the choice that you made. And consequence is neither right or wrong, good or bad. It's an end result to a choice that you've made. You made a choice, consequence. Guess what? After the consequence, you have more choices to make. And it just keeps repeating and repeating. You just keep stacking, you keep learning to grow. So if you're in a place of discomfort, you feel stuck, that's actually a good place to be if you truly want to transform.
It's also a place where if you realize you have a lot of choice. Now, too much choice can feel overwhelming, but you also don't have potentially any wrong choices. And if there's a wrong choice, you're going to be really aware of what that is, or at least you should be. And so this gives you a big green pasture and openness to say, I'm going to accept the good, bad, beautiful, and ugly of this situation and make a choice with all four by my side.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's up to you. Yeah. Right? It's not up to me. I think a lot of times when people hire a coach, they expect their coach to walk on water and perform miracles. Well, no, the only one that can walk on water and perform the miracles is actually you. Yeah. We can just guide. We can just offer. I'm an observer. When I'm looking at you and talking to you in your life, and even with my sister, I don't tell her what to do. I offer advice. I go, I'm just inviting you to look at things a different way. But yes. I can't do that for you. You have to be willing to do that.
It's an invitation. I think you said that earlier.
That's all it is.
It's an invitation tied with an observation.
Yeah. And my observation is just my observation. It's just from my perspective. So I always said, what do I know? I'm speaking from my perspective. I'm speaking from a sum of my experiences. Yeah. Right. But I think I've been afforded a good life and I've been blessed with disability that people do value. So I do take it seriously. This is why when I'm working with people, a lot of times when I'm working with someone and you even do it with me, what did you say? And I go, I have no idea what I said because I'm so in the moment, I just connect and I let it flow. If you want to remember what I have to say, record it or write it down.
Definitely record it.
Won't remember.
That's the power of being in those situations too, is I've had many of those times where I'm working with a client and we're both like, wow, here's how you feel. That's incredible. What were the exact words? But we're going to have to go to the instant replay later on to find out those words and realize that the realization is the words don't necessarily really matter. It's like, how are we going to be? And how are you feeling? How are you being in that moment? Now you've seen the peak. You've seen that there's a break through the fog. You've seen the sun. Be like, oh, I can feel like this. Oh, this is possible.
Yeah.
Bam. A
I
new
always ask people
possibility
in that
is now
moment,
on the horizon.
it's how you feel. What was it that I said or resonated with you when I said it? What was that feeling?
Yeah.
Right? I had a great experience with my sister yesterday. Thinking an incident with her daughter had to do with her daughter, and just from talking to me, she realized, oh, this is really about me and my fears. And I go, right?
Tell me more.
And then she goes, you're really good at this. I paid her to say that. So, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, you will come to your realization, and we're just there to guide you and not tell you you're right or wrong. So, we say, yeah. Are you feeling stuck? Are you feeling like you're in neutral? You are never stuck. You're never in neutral. You are always moving forward. It's your perception that makes you feel that way.
Yeah.
So let's look at that. If your perception, your mindset is that way, then let's look at your mind. But I always say, let's look at the mind first by understanding this mechanism. I point to the human heart, but this is where the I am, the real you. Rawle is this meat suit, but the essence of me. So let's look at that, because I believe the mind follows this just like the body follows the mind. So there's an order in this. So
there is.
Anyway, it's
speaking of order,
yes,
we're getting to that time.
Here we go. See how quickly that flies? We're definitely not stuck on the Rawle and Gene show.
On this show, we're definitely not stuck for words and for running the clock all the way out.
What are you saying? Like we talk too much? I know I do.
I never said those words. I mean, I pointed at it, but I never said it.
That's okay. It was just the victim in me coming out.
Well, brother, thank you for a wonderful conversation on this topic here today. I always appreciate your wisdom and our collaboration upon it, and being not stuck and continuing to move forward. And so as we wrap,
let me add this
one more thing.
We wrap this, because I just feel the need to say it. As much as I'll speak from as much as I would love people to show up and watch this show in masses and get something from it. At the end of the day, for me, the most important thing is that Gene and I have a good conversation. That's it.
We've had 23 of them, so at least recorded.
Well, at least recorded. But for me, that's the most important thing. And then how it resonates with people, that's up to them. But for me, the most important thing is we have a good show, you and I, not worried about the camera, not worried about the bright lights, not worried about who's in the audience. I don't care. I just want to have a good show and laugh. And I think we do that. And maybe that's why the few loyal listeners and viewers that we have, maybe they pick up on that. But if at this stage of my life, man, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, what the hell are you doing it for?
Doing it for the wrong reasons.
What are you doing it for? So anyway, I'll shut up now. See, I'm the one that talks way too much. So.
I don't. Well, you're not wrong. Well, he's got a point, right? He's got a point.
Know thyself. Know thyself.
Well, now that we've got the hook, we're pulling Rawle off the stage here. We're going to end this episode with two things. If you've loved this episode, make sure to follow us on the podcast or on YouTube. Hit that like. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify and you like us, give us a rating, good or bad. It does help other people find out about what we're doing. And as we leave, we'll leave you with the coaching tip for episode 23. Getting stuck or unstuck, life's challenges often cause us to stall our tracks, making change appearing daunting, if not impossible. We ask you to reflect on these questions. What circumstances or emotions commonly make you feel stuck? What narratives do you tell yourself when you're in this state? Are there patterns in how you successfully moved from stuck to unstuck before? Remember, feeling stuck is a common human experience, and acknowledging it is the first step towards transformational change. The keys to moving forward often lie hidden in our past successes and our failures. Unlock them, change becomes not just possible, but inevitable. On that note,
Well said.
we
Well said.
will leave you all until next week. Thank you for watching the Rawle and Gene Show. Check you later. Oh, one last thing. It's the legal language. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.